Hi, welcome you all to this video which will discuss about housekeeping in libraries and museums. I am sure all of you would have been to various libraries and must also have been to the museums. We'll discuss about the housekeeping in the libraries and the museum, and before proceeding further, let us understand about housekeeping in other institutions as compared to the hotels. Whether it be in a hotel, hospital, university, or other residential establishment, the main purpose of the housekeeping and accommodation department is to provide a clean, comfortable, and attractive environment for all those who use the premises, and those services must be provided in such a way that they do not lead to any safety, fire, or health hazards. Hygiene is of particular importance with control of pathogenic organisms and the prevention of cross infection becoming an important factor. Now in next slide, let us understand the difference between housekeeping of hotel and other institution. Housekeeping in hotel is directly linked to the profit generation, whereas housekeeping in other institution is practiced for the welfare of the human beings. In hotel, the guest rooms are prepared by the housekeeping department and it is sold, and through that room the profit is generated or the revenue is earned in the hotels, and hence housekeeping in hotel is linked to profit generation. Now let us proceed further to next slide and discuss about housekeeping in libraries. As all of you know, and all of you have seen libraries in your school days or at your graduation or your post graduation or other various organizations. A library is a curated collection of sources of information and similar resources selected by experts and made accessible to a defined community for reference or borrowing. A good housekeeping for library and archives collection means keeping the material and surrounding area clean and shelving materials appropriately. Educating staff and users in how to handle research material is also important. Smoking, eating, and drinking should not be allowed in any area where collections are stored or used. Cleaning in library. All areas of the library should be cleaned regularly. Floors should be vacuumed or damp mopped at least every 48 hours, and carpets vacuumed at least once a day. Damp mopping rather than wet mopping reduces the risk of raising the humidity in confined areas. It also helps prevent books on lower shelves from being splashed by water and other cleaning materials. A good choice for removing light dust layers from books and shelves are microfiber cleaning cloths, which uses an electrostatic charge to attract and hold dust and thus leave no damaging chemicals behind. These clothes should be changed or cleaned frequently. Do not use clothes that contain chemical additives. Suitable vacuum cleaners should be used to remove dust from carpets, floors, books, and shelvings because sweeping can move the dust from one area to another. Much of the dust in libraries and archives consists of soft brown particles produced by the collection, small flakes of paper fibers, and textile threads. Most problematic, though, is the dust produced by industrial pollution. The fine black soot usually seen around window openings and HVAC ducts. HVAC stands for heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. Procedure for cleaning books. Keep books firmly closed while cleaning them to prevent dirt from slipping down between the leaves. Use microfiber cloths or vacuums to remove dust particles. Remove books from the shelf in order, placing them on a cart with a book end for support. Then clean the shelf. Clean each book starting with top, which tends to be dirtiest, and then wiping or vacuuming the rest of the book. Usually, the topmost book on a shelf is the most dirtiest book. Wipe or brush away from the spine towards the front of the book to avoid pushing dirt into the end cap or down the spine of the binding. Work on one shelf at a time, moving from top to bottom. Always remember, cleaning should always be done from top to bottom. Return books to the shelf in order. And usually, as all of you are aware, a library is headed by a librarian in most of the cases, and the housekeeping hierarchy of a library would be librarian, followed by the housekeeping supervisor, and under housekeeping supervisor, sweepers. However, this is not the only hierarchy which is being followed in all the libraries. This may differ from organization to organization and even based on the size of the libraries. Now, let us go to the next slide and discuss about the housekeeping in museum. Let us start this slide with a beautiful quotation about housekeeping in relation to museum. Housekeeping, in all its elements, is our front line in the battle to protect the nation's heritage. The goal of cleaning is to preserve museum collections. Most of the traditional housekeeping tasks, such as dusting and vacuuming, are tasks also done at home. As a museum professional, you also dust and vacuum in museum exhibits, storage rooms, and furnished structures. Housekeeping tasks will vary depending upon the size, use, and type of collections. A historic house has different needs than a contemporary art museum. So, from here itself, we can understand the hierarchy of museum housekeeping will also differ based on the type of organization or the type of collection that you have in the museum, and it will also depend on size of the museum. Now let us proceed to the next slide and let us discuss the further point on this particular topic of the housekeeping in museum. What are the procedures of housekeeping in a museum? Number one, for maintaining the books, books can be cleaned with a cloth or vacuum. If the spine or the board of a book are loose or detached, avoid any cleaning procedures until they have been stabilized. So we have to be very careful and we have to be a very good observer. We have to have always eye for detail, which is always a quality of a good housekeeper. Book shelves. The second point. Work from the top shelf to the bottom of the shelf to avoid pushing dust onto surfaces that have already been cleaned. Transfer the books from an entire shelf to a book truck, a few volumes at a time, ensuring that the books are supported as they are moved. Once all of the books on a shelf are safely out of the way and is kept in order, the shelf can be wiped down with a clean rag or could be vacuumed. Number 3, ceramics. Dust ceramics with a soft natural brush monthly. Avoid scratching the ceramic surfaces. Number 4, ivory, bone, horn, etc. Dust objects with a soft brush once a year. Some ivory and smooth non-porous bone may be cleaned with water and mild soap. Number 5. Framed paintings. After checking that the surface of a frame is stable and after checking that it is not flaking or crumbling, use a soft brush or wool duster to gently dust from the top to down. If necessary, gently buff the glass. Let us proceed to the next point, and next point is number 6, which speaks about cleaning of glass objects. Glass with painted or other decorations should not be cleaned. This sentence says that it should not be cleaned abruptly without deciding on what is the type of paint or decoration that the glass is containing. Depending on the situation, depending on the quality of the paint or the decoration, we need to take a call on the type of cleaning. However, dust with a dry cloth every 2 weeks. Dirty glass objects may be washed once in a year with a dilute solution of warm water with addition of the appropriate chemical based on the type of glass objects that we are going to clean. Historic textiles is the seventh point. Stable textiles may be gently vacuumed through a fiberglass screen. If washable, textiles may be hand washed. Point number 8, metal objects. Handle metal objects with clean gloves to avoid depositing body oils during cleaning. Metal objects may be lightly dusted with a soft natural brush no more than 3 times a year. Metal objects may be polished once a year with specially designed treatments. Let us discuss about the ninth point of the cleaning. And ninth point speaks about mirrors. Before cleaning, ensure that the mirror is safely secured to the wall or can be held steady by an assistant and dusted with a soft brush from the top down. Tenth and the last point discusses about wood objects. Before beginning any cleaning procedure, check the condition of the object's finish. If it is cracking, flaking, or lifting, do not dust. Objects may be dusted with a clean, soft rag. Vacuuming is the most effective and least damaging way to remove dust from stable finished wood surfaces and unfinished wood. Objects may be waxed only after consulting a conservator, and we should not polish the wood in the museums as is practiced in the hotels where we apply some wood polish. In museum, the hierarchy of the housekeeping is as follows. Topmost chart position will be CEO, that is Chief Executive Officer or the Director, followed by Curator. Under Curator, we have Housekeeping Supervisor, and under Housekeeping Supervisor, we have Sweepers. Many a times, the conservator also comes into picture because housekeeping supervisor has to consult with the conservator before using the chemicals on the artifacts and the items which is stored in the museum. With this, we conclude discussing about the libraries and museum and the role of housekeeping in cleaning and maintaining these two institutions, which is of great importance to our nation and to all of us. With this, I thank you all for patiently going through this particular topic and looking forward to meet you yet in another video with some topic which could be of some help, which could be of useful to us. Thank you. Take care. Bye bye.